Welcome to the local Pulse on HPC. I'm Dave Dicke, and today we've got a full house. We've got members from SEMCAC joining us today. And I guess to start out with, let's have each of you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what your role is at SEMCAC, and also what inspired you to get involved in SEMCAC and serve the community. So toss up whoever wants to start.
I'll start. I'm Jen Hengel. I'm the executive director at SEMCAC. I've been in my role just since November of 2023, but have had several years of experience with SEMCAC and with community action in particular. I started in the early 2000s with a community action agency right across the river in western Wisconsin. And then opening came up at SEMCAC in 2002, I believe it was, and I applied, and I spent 9.5 years with SEMCAC then as a planning and development director. So what brought me, or what interested me about community action and about SEMCAC and the work that we do is really about helping people. I've always had an interest in public service, community service, and helping wherever I can. And I was drawn to the work of helping people reach that financial stability in their life, and to really just to thrive. So that's what brought me to community action.
Awesome. And I'm Kelly Dicke. I am the Planning and Development Director here at SEMCAC. I've been here since last October, and my role is basically marketing, grant writing, securing funding, supporting programs, anything I can possibly do with organizational strategies on making sure that we can serve the community and help those in need.
Bill Spitzer, Director of Transportation for SEMCAC. And I got the position shortly after Jen started as our Executive Director, December 2023. I have a pretty extensive experience with SEMCAC. I did a career change back in 2014 and was a driver for one of our routes in public transportation in the Dover-Yoda area. Worked full-time for SEMCAC at that point, probably about 1.5 years, and moved on to another career and stayed as a sub-driver from 2014 until 2023, where I was asked to come back as a operations manager for SEMCAC Transportation. So it was one of those opportunities where I've always enjoyed, working for those organizations that assist people in having their needs met. And this is certainly an organization that does that, especially in transportation. And when I became director in 2023 there, December, that's when I had the opportunity to actually shape some of the things that we do in public transit and in volunteer driving, and also our STS services. So that's why I joined up.
And my name is Jeff Wyant. I'm the Senior Services Director here at SEMCAC, covering the Title III congregate and home delivered meals programs, as well as a couple other older adult services. I've been in my role since 2019, so a little over 6 years. And what drew me to this line of work was the combination of my years of food and service experience, and then really utilizing that to really help older adults stay in their homes. When I started this position, I didn't realize how impactful home-based community services were for older adults and their importance. So, just every day coming to work and working hard to make sure those older folks can stay in their homes.
Oh, wonderful. I feel I need to do a full disclosure. Kelly and I share the same last name. That's legally. She's my wife, so just but I'm not going to throw her any softball questions. So just so you viewers know, she's in.
We'll talk about that at home.
So for those watching our program today, can you and who may not be familiar with SEMCAC, tell us a little bit about the SEMCAC mission. Jen, do you want to handle that one?
Sure. SEMCAC's mission is to empower and advocate for people to enhance their self-sufficiency by maximizing community resources. And what that really means is community action has always been focused on anti-poverty programs and self-sufficiency, making sure that people have what they need in their daily lives, to be sufficient and to lead good lives. And so we do that through various different types of programming where we try to build people up and provide a hand up when needed. So we have 6 different department areas. You've heard from Bill there. We have our transportation programs. We have our senior services programs that Jeff mentioned. We also have a clinic in Winona that we've had since the late 1970s to provide some healthcare services for people that are underinsured or uninsured. We also have our Head Start programming for families with children, and that is for low-income households. To provide that not only the preschool education, but all of the family services to help those families get the resources that they need. And so let's see, what else? Outreach and emergency services is another department area that has homeless prevention programs and our food shelves, emergency and crisis assistance programs as well. And then our energy and housing, making sure that people have some assistance with utility assistance to help them stay warm during the winter months, as well as weatherization services to make their homes more energy efficient, and housing rehab loans for income eligible households. And those loans can be forgivable after a certain amount of time, but those loans can help people that may not be able to qualify for traditional lending. They're able to get home repairs that are needed, whether it's for accessibility or other emergency needs within the home, or just to make the home safer and a better quality living environment so they can live with decency and dignity. So various different programs that we have all centered on that mission of self-sufficiency.
And then how large of an area do you serve?
We are the designated community action agency for 7 counties. The state of Minnesota has 24 community action agencies. Every county in the state is covered by an agency. We've been the designated community action agency for Winona, Fillmore, and Houston counties since 1966. And then in 1975, Dodge and Steele counties joined our service area. In 1985, Mower County, and then in 2004, we took on Freeborn County. So now we have those 7 counties that are our primary service area. We also partner with other community action agencies to provide services in their area when it makes sense. So like our senior dining, our congregate dining program that Jeff mentioned, that is actually available. We do that service in 11 counties. So in addition to our 7, we also have Goodhue, Rice, Wabasha, and Olmsted County for that. And we have some other services in Olmsted County, the bus that Bill will talk about, I'm sure, but those buses operate in rural counties or rural communities in Olmsted County. And we have our weatherization program there as well. So sometimes we overlap a little bit depending on the community action agency's specialties. But for the most part, we're in the 7 counties I mentioned.
Oh, I think for me, when I first learned of Semcac, being in Winona, the clinic was what you always thought of. Mm-hmm. Then I've heard about the weatherization program, but boy, that is quite a list of services that you offer. Is there any one of those that people are kind of surprised? As Jeff, is there any of those services that people are kind of surprised to hear that you offer, and what one seems to raise the most eyebrows?
So probably the most surprising statistic that I'd like to share about is the home delivered meals program. Most folks think that the home delivered meals program is completely staffed and funded and things like that. However, it's very volunteer driven. So for our home delivered meals programs across the 8 counties that we deliver those in, we probably get about 10,000 volunteer hours a year to help deliver those meals to seniors in approximately 38 different communities across the counties that we serve. So it's always a surprising statistic, and we're always looking for more volunteers to help out get those meals to older adults.
Are there anyone have a story that they could share that maybe kind of illustrates that impact that Semcac services have had on someone that you've served?
Yeah, well, I think. Oh, go ahead, Bill.
I can certainly share in transportation. Transportation also has a lot of volunteers, just like Jeff's program. We have the volunteer program that we staff in, and several of the counties that we have in our service area. And, it's 10,000 rides that these volunteers give over the course of a year. And one of our counties has over half of those, Winona County. A lot of people are given rides to their medical appointments or their critical areas that they have to go to, and those are staffed by volunteers. So, the transportation isn't always just about the transit buses. But, just a quick story on our transit buses is, we had this individual that was having a hard time getting to her medical appointments, and she's mobility challenged, and it was costing her anywhere between $100 to $200 to get to a medical appointment from one of our communities, St. Charles. And our service provides that at $12. So for $12, this individual was able to get to and back from her medical appointment. So, it's those services that, a lot of times people don't think about, like transportation. Of the people that ride our transportation services, 60% of those don't have driver's license, or, for whatever reason, whether they've aged out of a driver's license and decided that they don't want to drive anymore, or that they just can't obtain one. We haul a lot of individuals that are preschool age and senior citizens, and of course mobility challenged. So, our public transit part of our transportation is very critical for a lot of people. That's the only way that they can get from here to there on a day-to-day basis.
I would like to also add that behind the scenes, I was talking to somebody yesterday that got a thank you card from a client that we actually couldn't even do services for. And she thanked our staff member for going the extra mile, to working hard to seeing if there's other programs that we could do by visiting with partner agencies and everything. So SEMCAC doesn't only just stop with the programs and the services that we offer. We partner with a lot of agencies to see if we can't find solutions for people as well. So I thought that was even very heartwarming, that people took their time to thank us for not even helping them, when that's all we want to do is be of service and help create a better life for them.
Are there any new initiatives that SEMCAC is excited about and offering? What do you have happening that's generating a buzz right now?
Well, I think just in the last year, we did take on a diaper distribution program that it comes to us through the Diaper Bank of Minnesota. So we're able to get quarterly deliveries of diapers that come to us from the metro area. And then we are able to disperse them throughout our service area to families that need that extra boost because of the cost, of those types of products. So that's been a newer initiative. We also have taken on, and I don't know if Kelly, if you want to talk about poverty simulations.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
We, a group of us from SEMCAC were able to go and be trained in becoming poverty facilitators. And so we are now able to go out and create an experience where people can walk through what it feels like to be in poverty, a 4-week cycle. And Jeff is actually on that team with me. We've already conducted 2 poverty simulations, and we have 4 more on the books. So we're really excited to work with agencies that have reached out to see about setting up staff events where they can help their staff have a little more empathy and really create awareness for people of what it feels like and the struggles that are real that people face, and how many of us face that. So that's been a new initiative that's really exciting this year for us.
We're going to take a real quick break, and when we come back, we'll visit more with the folks from SEMCAC right after this.
Oh, hey there. Didn't see ya. Jerry D from Mr. D on Amazon Prime. I'm out here with the GigaSpire Blast. Keeps my connectivity strong, so I have no interruptions, so I can watch and I can paint freely, no distractions and no interruptions.
Welcome back to the Local Pulse on HBC. I'm Dave Dicke, and we're joined today by members of SEMCAC. And we're talking about a lot of the services that SEMCAC offers to folks living in Southeast Minnesota. And I guess let's talk a little bit about some of the challenges that your organization is facing, and the challenges that are facing the individuals in our region. And how does SEMCAC address those? Let's have Jeff, if you can answer that for us.
So for our older adults, it really boils down to the funding levels and the state level support for home-based community services. Those are things like meals, caregiver access and information, bills, volunteer driver program. And even in the cities that have robust networks and providers to provide those services, it's still difficult for older adults to get access to everything that they need to stay independent in their homes. And then as you get out into the more rural parts of the communities, those services become even more difficult or even non-existent. And with that, older adults that are on fixed incomes as well, you see the rising costs and the impacts of utilities and food and property taxes, really stretching those budgets for those folks. And we really anticipate that food support for older adults is going to become the number one priority for funding and support as we move forward. So I'll turn it over to Bill.
Well, Dave, I think one of the challenges that we face in transportation is just having this extremely large service area that we provide, whether it's volunteer driver services or whether it's public transit. I mean, we operate 12 buses within a 5-county area, and that's a lot of area to cover. A lot of funding is needed to sustain that because we want to make sure that transportation is available to anyone, whether they're mobility challenged, whether they're young, old, it doesn't matter. We want to make sure that everybody keeps their independence, and part of that is we do get a substantial amount of money from the state of Minnesota, but they also require that local match, right? So we have to have that local investment to provide these services. And one of the struggles that we're currently having is in 2026, it's going to double that local match that we're going to require to have. So, it's always fun. That fine line of how do you find that extra funding from these local communities that are struggling to provide police protection or whatever, and now asking them to help out with transit. So I think probably our biggest challenge that we have right now is just finding that local match funding for transportation.
How have the needs changed for people over the last few years? What services do you see more demand for right now than maybe you have in past years? Is it the senior dining and transportation, or are there other services that?
One of the things that we need to do every 3 years is complete a community needs assessment, where we are able to go out in the communities and really determine areas that we need. And that does shift every single 3 years. So this year, the top 2 have been food insecurity and transportation. And so those are high areas for us. Then when we work on our strategic plan in those parts, we always want to make sure that we're paying attention to the needs that are out there and we're meeting them. We're always looking for gaps. We're always looking for opportunities where something is missing, and then we could maybe provide a service for people.
And we also see that then just reflected in the numbers and the statistics we're getting back from the programs. Like our food shelves are seeing an increased demand. We are serving more households now than we ever have. And people at our food shelves, we have 4 food shelves in Caledonia, Preston, Rushford, and Casson. Just the increased numbers there, and the people can only have 1 visit a month, but that's a lot of times just because we don't have enough food in order to provide more frequent visits too. And just with the limited funding sources that we have, and really relying on communities in order to support those food shelves, that's as much as we're able to do right now. But with like the rising food prices and things that we've seen over the last few years, I mean, the food security has definitely been one of those areas. And as Kelly mentioned too, transportation, we do have car repair programs in several of our counties. And those, we never have enough resources to meet the demand, that just families that are living paycheck to paycheck, and they have a crisis like a car something broken on their car and that it's undrivable, or they can't get to their employment, they can't get to education, those types of things, or a healthcare crisis that can really cause people to spiral even further. That if we can step in and have our car repair program or have a crisis financial assistance where we can help with something medically related, that we can help them maintain that stability so they can get through that, and don't spiral. So yeah, I think those are some areas that we're really seeing the higher need.
What type of collaborative efforts do you have within communities that help you to be able to achieve those things?
We are part of a lot of different collaborations, and I know Jeff and Bill could talk about specific ones within their programs, but we have homeless response teams in each of our counties, and we're part of family service collaboratives in each of our counties, where those types of opportunities really bring together all of our partner organizations, whether that's local government or school districts, and other private organizations that are doing similar work, that we can get together and make sure that we're not duplicating services, and that we're combining our resources wherever possible, in order to maximize what we can do for folks. So but I don't know if Jeff and Bill have some other suggestions or things that they're doing with collaboration.
For transportation, a lot of our collaborations are to try to meet that local match, right? There's a lot of communities that need these services, and a lot of them recognize that, and they help us provide the infrastructure, which is purchasing the buses, or providing help with our operations, and those are the types of collaborations that really help us. Our volunteer program partners with the United Way to help individuals that just they don't have any source of revenue to pay for rides to medical appointments. So, it's partnering with those organizations, those civic groups, those organizations within communities that can help us, offset some of these costs that are related to transportation. It is just one of those things that you just really need to, partner with those local communities, those counties, and those civic organizations that can help us offset some of those costs. I always tell people, we're very lucky, or I'm very lucky. I have a car sitting in my garage, and I can go anywhere, anytime I want to go. But a lot of the clients that we serve, public transit is the only way to get around. I mean, that's the way they get to the grocery store. That's the way they get to the barber shop. That's the way they get to, their medical appointments. So, just thinking about those individuals, and as you heard from Kelly and Jen, it's the number two thing, right behind food. I mean, food and transportation. And I had a chance to do the poverty simulation, and it was a very eye-opening to see how important transportation is. I mean, you have to get everywhere, and you have to line those things up. So a lot of things that you need to collaborate with other people with.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add, Jeff?
Yeah, it was just as far as partnerships and collaborations go, we work with a number of in our kind of smaller, more remote communities. We have a number of smaller restaurants and diners that help us provide meals to folks in those communities. We work a lot with the county public health to provide services through the elderly waiver program. So we work with public health and the county caseworkers pretty frequently. And then to Bill's point, a lot of our home delivered meals clients, that volunteer is the only person that they see every day, or that they may see in a day. So having those volunteers and having that hot meal delivered to their door is probably the highlight of the day for those folks, and really drives their independence.
As far as partners too, I just want to give a shout out to our faith-based organizations and the churches and places of worship that we work with, because I know, like, either whether they're Meals on Wheels delivers for a week, or every week, or 1 week every month, or whether they're donating to our food shelves or volunteering at our food shelves. We get several of our volunteers and funding also come from those places of worship. So we want to give them some credit too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one word that has come up a lot here in the last couple of minutes is volunteers. So how do volunteers and local supporters help contribute to SEMCAC's work? And maybe how many volunteers do you have? That number must be astronomical. Do you employ a small city of volunteers, or?
We have over 1,000. Last year, the number was over 1,024 volunteers, I think
Something
it was.
like that.
And
Oh.
so many volunteers that make this work possible.
Mhm.
So,
And
and that's through the like Meals on Wheels, food shelves, volunteer driver program, those programs like we've mentioned, that rely heavily on volunteers.
And if somebody wants to get involved by volunteering, what's a great way for them to learn about opportunities?
They can actually go to our website, semcac.org, and there's the volunteer tab, and they can enter their information right there. We have that manned, and we reach out right away.
So looking into the future, 5-10 years, maybe down the road, what is your vision of SEMCAC in the region? Where do you think things are headed?
So I would just like to say real quick that part of the role that I have is to help bring resources in order to support all of these programs and do that. So my goal is to help build a sustainability fund so SEMCAC community action can take care of people in the future as well. And so part of what I am constantly working on is fundraising and donating. And so we need volunteers, but we also need donations. And we are always accepting donations to help our cause so we can help others. And people can donate by going on semcat.org. And there's a donate tab right there as well. So we're always looking to figure out ways to help people. And you've heard the financial implications that we face every day, which all nonprofits do. But these services are vital to people's well-being. And then I'll hand this off to a colleague.
Yeah, I would just say, 5 to 10 years down the road, it's that sustainability and continuing to be the place that people go in order to be connected with resources. Like even like Kelly mentioned, if we're not able to help them, but making sure that we provide that that information, referral source, and advocacy, so that we can link people to other resources in the community, and just being that go-to place for people that may be experiencing a hardship or a challenge in their life, that we can be that person or that agency to get them what they need.
So in our waning moments here, what is something that you would like people to walk away from this program today knowing about SEMCAC?
I'll start from the transportation standpoint. Is, a lot of times people don't understand that anybody can ride our public transit. I think we try to put that all over the bus there, Dave. Anybody can ride at any time, and that's one of the things that I think is probably an underutilized service that we have, is just letting people know that the public transit is available to you, and it's one of those ways that you can get from here to there. And also the other services that we provide in transportation, whether it's our volunteer driver service that gets people to their medical appointments, or some of those things that are required on a daily basis, or even if you're mobility challenged, we have those resources to get you from here to there. So if there's one thing I'd like you to remember from here is, don't forget about SEMCAC when you're talking about your transportation needs.
And for older adult services, it's really that anybody over the age of 60 can take part in our meal programs. Especially our congregate dining. If there's a congregate dining site, you just have to be over the age of 60 to come down and get a warm meal. It's nutrition. It's approved by a registered dietitian. And then for our home delivered meals, you just have to be over 60. And if there's some sort of mobility issue or some sort of reason that you can't leave your home, we're more than willing to get a home delivered meal out to your home. So there's no income requirements. It's just simply an age requirement. So and if that's what you need to stay independent, we're more than willing to get those out to you.
And Dave, it wouldn't be true to form if I didn't ask if I could have two, right? Instead of one.
Right.
Okay. So I have two. The world can sometimes be scary. Life can feel unpredictable, but I've been with SEMCAC now for 10 months. SEMCAC is safe. It's a safe place for people to go to find some help. And so I find that very endearing. And so that's one. And my second one would be community. We build community, we support community, we are community. So when people need help, come to us. We're here.
And I would say the takeaway would be, I go back to what the National Community Action Partnership says about the promise of community action, and that being about helping people and changing lives. So it's not just about maybe the immediate help that they may receive, but how is it impacting their life, and how is it creating that self-sufficiency for them going forward. So just change that impact and changing lives.
Awesome. And we'll direct folks, if they would like to get any more information, to the SEMCAC website, semcac.org.
Yes,
and
correct.
they'll find all the information they'll need to know. Well, thank you, Kelly, Jen, Bill, and Jeff, for taking time to be on the show today. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
And we want to thank you
Thanks,
for
Jen.
and we want to thank you for watching today, the Local Pulse here on HPC.